So, last night we had our levy hearing, and so I wanted to give you guys a much shorter version of probably what we saw last night, just so you can have a PowerPoint to kind of match and kind of walk through the PowerPoint, just in case you weren't able to hear it last night. And sometimes it's easier if someone walks you through it versus just if you're reading yourself. So, first thing we talked about last night was whether or not we're required to have a truth and taxation hearing. And as obviously you probably know by now, the only time you need a truth and taxation hearing is if your aggregate levy is 5% or more than the extension from the previous year. So we are not going to require to have one this year. And the other thing is really important from last night's meeting. I've said it every year. Will County is a PTEL county. What that means is there's a tax cap to the county of Will. So as we go through this presentation, you'll see some various things like that. But it's really important that all these vocab words make sense because as you hear them either from me or from um, the clerk's office, you need to know what all these terms mean. So PTEL means it's the property tax extension limitation law. That is, the county says you cannot seek more than 5% or CPI, whatever's lower, regarding your increase in aggregate. So your levy is the projected amount of taxes for the following year. This is based on a preliminary EAV. That's the second thing you either heard a lot last night or you hear through this. It's preliminary, it's anticipated, things like that. So your levy is your projected amount. Your extension is the actual amount of money you got last year in terms of the school district. So we're doing the aggregate now because we're anticipating, and then next year at this time, we'll have the extension. So that's the difference in that. And then obviously the aggregate I just mentioned is the amount we are looking to receive. Extension is what we did receive last year. Aggregate is what we're hoping to receive the following year. So what is the proposed total levy? Last year, the rate was 509. It was actually 50855. I just rounded it up for ease of numbers. And then this year's proposed rate is 499. The extension, i.e. the number we got last year, was 11.68 million from local property taxes. Our proposed levy, our aggregate, is 12.26. That is a 4.9 increase in revenue. So is that the percent you use to determine the truth in taxation hearing? You betcha. That 100% is. So we have no bonds. Later on the slide, you'll see we don't have an extension anymore. So that is 100% the number you would use. Obviously, it is 4.9 is less than 5. So we do not need to have a truth in taxation hearing. So again, you kept on saying anticipated. Well, so again, your rate last year was 509. The anticipated rate is 499. Where do we come up with that? You have your projected EAV that comes from the clerk's office. You then have your amount of aggregate you are seeking. You put in the CPI or 5%, whatever one's less. You run the numbers, and then at the end of the day, the formula kicks back and says, hey, this is going to be the rate to get that aggregate from that preliminary EAV. Real EAV doesn't come out till later in the year. You'll see that a little bit later. That is a 2% decrease from last year's rate. Once again, those numbers are all anticipated because your real EAV comes out in March. So we do all this work in December. We approve a levy in December. And then in March, Will County actually sends back our levy and says, hey, this is the real EAV. Based on what you asked for, you're anticipated, you're at aggregate, this is your actual rate. So it could be 499, it could be 494. It all depends on what the actual EAV comes out to be. Then Will County kicks that back and says this is what it is. It will not go up because again, I can't get more than I ask for. I could ask for $1 billion. And in a tax cap district, the answer is going to be no. So you can only get what you ask for. You can never get more. So who decides EAV? That's 100% Will County. That has nothing to do with the school district or any school district at all. It is 100% up to the county determining what the EAV on your homes and things like that. Here is your rates from all the way back to 2017. You'll see on the far left, that is the limiting rate, which is the number directly goes to the school district. The percent change of that, you'll see um, those haven't jumped too much except for in 2023, and that's the year of the referendum. You'll see the extension. The extension was the junior high. That's the last extension you all had. That ended in 2022. You also see the total. That's probably the important line for you guys to look at, second to last line. And then the last one's the actual flow of the total extension and everything like that. So you'll notice back in 2022 that dropped almost 21%. That's when the bond was no longer part of your levy. That's when you saw a drop of 116 in your levy, and then the following year. So you had 1 year where it was down, and then the referendum passed, and it went up to 11.7%, and then you'll see it start going down again. So as long as your EAV continues to increase, your rate change should continue to decrease unless you have a referendum to recapture some of that. So everybody wants to know specifically, it's a great question. Are my individual taxes going up and down? I need to know. Well, I can't answer that for you, and I apologize. It's something I mentioned last night. However, there is we were able to, for the second year, I got a levy calculator here for you. So if you go onto the webpage underneath the legal files, you'll see this. It's empty, so you'll see these red boxes where it says enter here, enter here, enter here. Those are for you to put in. Those are already empty. So when you download it, all you have to do is put in your numbers. So the top box, I want you to put in last year's EAV, the number that you got last March. And then the bottom two, the one right here in the middle, put in your new EAV, what you think it might be. I mean, you can always guess. So that right there, the middle one would be if your EAV with your new EAV, it could go. Hopefully, it goes up. That's a good thing for you. It could go down. You could do some things to your property that makes your EAV go down. But you'll see that $499 is the proposed tax rate. So if I had $300,000 last year and my house went up a little bit in value to $320, this did the formula for you, I would see an increase of my tax bill to be $237.17 just on my home. Now, let's say that nothing happened, that my house is assessed the same value this year as it was last year at $300,000. So I'll see $100 less in my tax bill. So again, I can't answer specifically for you, but you can easily download this off the webpage. You can put your numbers in here and find exactly if yours goes up or down and by how much. And it will look just like this. So you'll see right now it says 2024. That's because when I made this video, I hadn't uploaded the new presentation yet because I hadn't made the presentation to the board yet. So that will probably say levy presentation 12/10/25. And then this is the levy calculator you're looking for. You download it, you put the numbers where you want to see, and you'll be able to figure out yours specifically. Last one, this is just one of the board policies, 410. Some school districts were saving lots and lots and lots of money, and so the state required a reduction plan in terms of your reserves, and that is based on 2.5 times your operating costs. So our 3-year average of operating costs is roughly $10 million. 2.5 times that is $25.1 million. The actual reserves we have are 11, which are well under the $2.5 million threshold. So the district does not require a deficit or a reduction plan for that. So then the other thing people kind of want to see, because if you ever actually follow the treasurer's report by Mr. Peters, you'll see an ebb and flow of funds. Sometimes it goes up a little bit, sometimes it goes down, but you'll see the peak in right around here in July, because that's when a lot of the money comes in. So you'll see most of your money right here comes in by September. So really, the school district is top notch, and it's probably September 30th is when you see most of those. The best you'll see in terms of your reserves, and then it just trickles away because you're not seeing most of your revenue coming in the rest of the year. And so we kind of wait until May of the following year. Then we start seeing that money come back in again. So that's how the disbursements work. It's not the same amount every month. It's kind of when you pay your bill, There's those big payments you make, and then the school gets those monies from there. All right, that was a 10-minute video. Hopefully it made some sense. Hopefully you got to watch it. If you want the presentation, you're more than welcome to go to YouTube and watch the board meeting part of it, but hopefully this kind of walks you through the presentation. Guys, have a great day.